Hey guys, this is Ashleigh here, and I'm here with my amazing co-hosts. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Yo.
This is More Than Conversation, where we do life together and
Talk about
it. So, guys, okay, Ebony, appreciate that. So, how was your week, weekends, whatever you would like to share? How you guys doing?
Well, it's your girl Eb. Back at it again.
Oh my
with the
gosh.
white van, spicy man.
Yes.
My week was cool. Like I was saying before we started recording, I just feel like I'm low-key drowning in everything that I'm trying to do. So I'm currently just praying and asking God to help me like cultivate a schedule that allows me to be productive and also prioritize rest. 'Cause I don't get actual rest. Like I'm always doing or working on something. So like there's no day where I'm like just reading a book or enjoying like just quality time with Ash. It's like it's always just I'm just always doing something. So just trying to prioritize like resting and not having to do stuff, because I don't believe in grind culture anymore. I don't believe that. I know you have to work hard, but there are 7 days in a week and you can work hard 6 out of the 7, but you'll never have a chance to rest, recharge, or enjoy the fruits of your labor if you literally work 7 days a week, 365, all that. So yeah, just I believe rest is important, and I just need to incorporate more rest into my schedule.
It's a lot. Yeah, you see. It's your boy Ash, and just taking it one day at a time. Not trying to stress too much. And yeah, like sometimes you gotta realize like, hey, like doing more doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting more done. You may be doing more.
That's so good.
Fire flames.
You may be doing more and taking majority of your time where you could be spending that to something that actually means, that's more meaningful, I should say. And you may end up going around in circles over and over again if you try to do more.
Yeah, that reminds me of Lightyear. We watched Lightyear yesterday, the Buzz Lightyear movie. And spoiler alert for those that haven't seen it, but he had spent literally 60-something years.
I think 100.
Or over 66 to 100 and something years he spent trying to undo a mistake that he made and fix something. He had spent so much time trying to fix a mistake that he made that he never got the chance to build a life for himself, because he was so obsessed with
That's a word.
With fixing that one mistake.
That's a word.
fixing that one mistake that he missed literally like 60 to 100 years, so much so that his best friend, by the time that he had stopped trying to fix it, was dead when he got back. He did not even get a chance to say goodbye because he was so obsessed
And fixated on
with
that
fixated on
fixing.
work.
But you know, it's your boy Trey. We did it my way. We did this every day, from the weekend to the weekday. Extension.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the week has been good. The weekend has been pretty busy. There's been a lot of rain, so if you're not into that kind of weather, then for sure it's gonna be a little downer. But we push on, you know, like we say. It doesn't matter what we say.
I was just about to say, what do we say?
What do we say?
So like we say, forget it. We ball.
Mm-hmm.
So we keep it pushing.
What about you, Ashleigh?
Oh, I was so busy listening to everybody. I just, I was zoned out. I would like to co-sign on what Ebony said about, what I got from what you said is just like stressing. Okay, Ashton, thank you. But like just stressing and, feeling like you're drowning. Like I felt like I've been drowning for months.
No, wait. No, what? Oh, sorry.
Huh?
I was going to say no, a boogie.
We're so lazy, wonder why they like me. I'm drowning in water. I just bought a cube and dipped it in a fountain. Sorry.
But it's just
Bag of popcorn over here.
what are you saying? What am I trying to say? It's birthing pains, contractions, whatever. we can call it that. You know, I'm pushing past something. That's how I like to look at it.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry.
What?
Everybody's like, where are you going with that?
Yeah, definitely what I was just thinking. But yeah,
it's pushing past something. The pain is a sign of that something's getting ready to be birthed. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I kind of redeemed that.
I love how you
doing
redeemed
your
that.
best to push past it?
Am I doing my best
Push
to push past it?
Push.
You know, English words.
Words.
I do that.
Yes, I am doing my best.
Trey, you could come over.
Thanks.
That was, you barely moved. There you go.
Ooh, spacey.
But yes, so that's how my week was, or weekend, or past month, you know, whatever you want to call it.
So what you're saying is this has been an ongoing battle, and we push on.
Yes, this has been an ongoing battle, but we push on. But yeah, we all said different things, you know, but one thing that we have in common is that, like, we've all gone through, like, battles in our lives where, you know, we have tried to push and push and push and do our best, and it feels like our best is just not enough, you know? Our best is just not going to ever amount to what we want our outcome to be. So that's when we come to the end of ourselves as believers, and then we go to God and we're just like, God, like, this is what I have to give, and God can, like, multiply it for us. So can any of you really speak on, like, your experience with that? Just acknowledging I'm doing my best, giving it to God, and allowing him to really multiply your efforts, and so he can get you to where you need to be.
I feel like I'm just starting to get there, because recently I've realized that my faith is very lazy, and I tend to not do my part when it comes to things that I guess I want, or like things that I feel like God wants for me. I tend to just put it all on him and forget that there's, like, a part I have to play and things, like, come into pass, because at the end of the day, God kind of sort of needs my help for things to move in my life. Like, I have to be willing to do, like, the tangible work in order for God to do, like, the, I guess, miracle work. But I question if I'm doing enough a lot of the time, because, like, I'd wake up every day and the first thing on my mind is, you didn't do enough yesterday. Like, you didn't do enough work at your job. You did not pray enough. You did not read enough of the Bible. Like, you just did not do enough. And it gets kind of frustrating, because it's like, at what point do you know that you're doing enough? Because every single day I feel like I'm not. And that's because I know that I'm capable of so much more. But I've lied to myself and said, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm giving this all I got. When actually I'm not. Like, for instance, with my health and my weight and fitness journey, Ashleigh and I have had so many conversations where I'm like, I'm doing the best that I can. Like, I'm eating this and I'm going to the gym these days. And Ashleigh has have to hit me with the reality check of, no, you're not. You literally just ate a bunch of junk food, like, all last week. And you barely do your workouts in the gym, and you are barely drinking water, and you don't drink your teas regularly. So what it looks like to me is not what's actually happening. So to me, I think I'm fighting for my life, and in real life, I'm not actually doing anything. So it's like thinking like you digging a hole, right? Like, you have a shovel and you feel like you digging a hole, but literally, like, you ain't even make a dent in the ground. Like, you still surface level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
For me, I would say I definitely know I'm not doing my best, but at the same time, I feel like I'm doing enough. But that comes from me thinking I could be doing worse.
So that causes you then to be like complacent and comfortable and like, I could do better, but at least I ain't doing worse.
That's
So
an interesting perspective.
Exactly. So, if I'm making progress, let's say, for example, towards something, if I made more progress than I did yesterday, I'm thinking I did better than yesterday. So obviously I'm doing enough. I'm doing better. But if I wanted to, instead of doubling what I did before, I could really triple or quadruple what I did before, and that would be just as fine. But because I doubled it and I feel like that's good, that's enough. And I think that's why it's important to have people around you who keep you accountable.
Right.
Because it's nice to see someone doing great, but if you can see all the potential that they have, you're going to want them to strive for greatness. And I'm not saying that I don't have people around me who are not pushing me to strive for greatness, but they're only around me so much. I have to hold myself accountable.
That facts.
And so, like I said, am I doing my best? No. But a lot of the times I feel like I'm doing enough when I'm working to want to do more until, not to burn myself out, but just so I can be wholly and fully satisfied with the work I've done.
So it's like giving the bare minimum. You give the bare minimum.
Yeah. It's like that.
I can relate to that. I'm a bare minimum girly. And I cannot stand that about myself. But a toxic thing that I didn't realize was toxic until I started reading the book that I'm reading is we have a cycle of being hard on ourselves and talking down to ourselves because we feel like if we don't, we're not going to make progress. So say I was supposed to go to the gym and I didn't. I would say, you are so lazy.
Wow.
And you just don't ever want to do anything. And that's why you look the way you look. If you would put more work in, then you wouldn't look this way. See? And I feel like if I stopped doing that, then I would be going easy on myself. When I didn't realize that is a very unhealthy way to hold yourself accountable.
Right.
Because you are putting yourself down by you trying to put yourself up, build yourself up by putting yourself down.
See, and that's a funny thing. That
don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And the thing about it is, like, I don't react that way about myself. I don't put myself down. More so, I'm easily...
Pause. Y'all, why is this zoomed in on me and Trey like this?
You probably tapped something.
People that are watching, I'm so sorry. I am not going to restart this video because this is some good conversation.
It is.
So I apologize. Yeah, but back...
Y'all two were talking, so,
Yeah, back to what we were saying initially.
What were we saying?
What were you saying, Trey?
I remember
he was highlighting on what Ed was saying.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you're like, you don't really talk down on yourself.
Yeah, I don't talk down on myself.
React.
And the reason is because I'm easily content. So, yeah.
That may be a gift, actually.
And that curse.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because complacency.
Because as a friend who has known Trey for years, it was definitely a curse for a few times.
This man is literally just you telling something, he'd be like, okay.
And with Eb's situation, I feel like she's like tied between like two like a canyon, and she's like in the middle. Like one side is the left side of the Grand Canyon, and she in the valley, and then the other side is the other part of the Grand Canyon. It's like you think you're not doing enough when you actually want to do something. So, it's not enough for you, but you don't try to see like, if this is enough for God. And then on the other end, when you don't actually want to do something and you think you're doing something towards like that benefit, you'll be like, oh, I'm already doing enough for this already. It's just like, say if we do things for our personal benefit, like say we want to go make some money and stuff like that, and we'd be like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not working hard enough to get enough money to go on my trip, or to buy this car, or to pay my rent, or to throw a party for my kids or my friend or my significant other. I'm not doing enough, so I gotta go. I gotta keep going. But let's say if we gotta mend a relationship with our parents, or with our significant other, or with a friend, an old friend, with our kids, or with God, we'd be like, I'm doing enough. It's them or it's whatever. Like
We like to find something to blame.
Like
Wow.
when it's something that you don't actually want to do,
You justify
think,
that it's
yeah,
that
you,
your bare
you
minimum
think
is
that
enough.
your bare minimum or what
Crazy.
you're already doing
But if
is
you
enough.
want it and you actually
Yeah,
doing
but
enough,
if
you
it's
always trying
something
to
that
you willing to
really
go above
had,
and beyond
like,
for the things
yeah,
that you
like
want.
if it's something
Right.
that you really really want, you'd be like, you're always gonna think that you're not doing
doing
enough,
enough.
and
That's so
that's
true.
where we're tied in the middle.
That's
We're
crazy.
always
Wow.
a lot of times we're stuck in the middle when these two things, these two different sides are pulling us apart.
I feel like too, because we victimize ourselves a lot, we always assume that we do enough. So we have this assumption that I'm doing enough because we feel like we're victims. So we feel like our bare minimum essentially becomes enough. Like for instance, I am sure that we can all say that we can do so much better in our relationship with God.
Yes.
But we tell ourselves that at the stage that we're at, what we're doing right now is enough. So I feel like what stunts our growth when it comes to our relationship with God essentially is us, because we tell ourselves that we can't attain a certain amount of God. So like we limit how much Bible we read because we overcomplicate it, and we tell ourselves, well, I don't want miss the point, or I don't want not grasp the concept, or I don't want to be doing it just to do it. Or like we make up an excuse as to why we limit ourselves to one verse or one chapter. But we literally, like I said in the last episode, we don't limit anything else. Like we don't tell ourselves this is too much social media, this is too much this is too much food, this is too much TV, this is too much this. But when it comes to God, it's like, oh no, I definitely cannot sit down and pray to God for 1 hour. Like that's absolutely too much. I have to build up to that. But do you take the time to do the building?
Right.
Do you take the time to build up to an hour of just you and God? Like we spend literally 23 hours in our day doing whatever else. So what is 1 hour gonna take from you if it's spent in God's presence? You know? So like we lie to ourselves sometimes, and we limit a lot of who we could be because we just, I don't know.
But the thing is,
so true.
it doesn't even have to be one straight hour of your day. You don't have to go like one straight hour. But if you really can say that you consider God all throughout your day, 10 minutes every other hour, if you're just talking to God, or any situation, because each day we experience things that try us. Each day we having some type of difficulty, or we having something that's going our way actually. And if you thank God for whatever going your way, that the way that you wanted to, or if something is not going your way and you're having that difficulty and you consider God, you talk to God, you thank Him, or you ask God for guidance. You ask Him like, God, like, what am I to do? What can I do? God, I'm trying. Like these are moments in your day that adds up. It doesn't have to be one straight hour, but if you're doing this, like if we do this in our day, that's still us talking to Him. That's
I
still
kind of
us.
have
so
to disagree a little
many-
bit though,
Okay.
because you do need to prioritize quiet on uninterrupted time in God's presence. Like, yes, talking to Him throughout the day and like making sure His presence is with you.
I don't know.
Making sure His presence is
I would
with
have
you.
to agree
No,
to disagree.
no,
with that
because it's what
specifically.
Jesus did.
I feel like
How
I could
much-
tie both together.
How
actually.
much times have we seen Jesus in the Bible go away to a quiet place and get into God's presence for a good period of time?
Okay, yes,
It's
that is
necessary.
that is true.
I'm not negating the
That is
fact
true.
that making sure you're in constant communication with God throughout the day. That's equally as important as that quiet time, because you need to invite God into every single situation that you're gonna face throughout your day. Whether it be, Lord, this work is tiring me. Give me strength to get through these assignments, or
I was
whatever
I was
it may
mainly
be.
highlighting on the part where you said it having to be an hour. That's why I said
No,
like,
I'm not saying it has to be an hour. That's just
an
an example.
Yeah,
it
but
it
that's
doesn't.
that's all I was saying.
It doesn't have to be an hour. Like if you have a very set schedule, it does not have, like, I'm not saying if it's not an hour you are a bad Christian and you need to get your life together. It just needs to be a period of uninterrupted time with you in God's presence. So whether that is if you could only get 10 minutes or however many,
Right.
however much time, because hi guys, sorry about that. My little sister called and I needed to answer. So I can't remember what
Family
we were talking
first.
about. I have no idea what we where we
What
were
were
going.
we
Oh, we
talking
were
I was
talk-
agreeing to disagree.
Oh,
with
okay.
the
Facts.
Yes.
and I
About
was
praying for an
I was
hour.
just saying, like, I'm not saying that you're a
Saying
bad Christian if you
for
don't
not
pray.
praying for an hour.
Not, it ain't about praying.
Right.
Just being in God's presence, in general is the importance. But the reason why I said it like that is because we make a lot of excuses as to why we don't spend time with God, and we make it seem like everything else in our life is more important than Him.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, God, I meant to pray, but I had to go do this, or I had to go do this. And it's just like we forget where everything we have comes from.
Right.
So we put God on the back burner because we allow our life to consume us so much where it's harder for us to like prioritize Him in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So He's not like top priority. So I'm
And-
not saying that
Yeah.
like you're a bad Christian if you don't have an hour, but I'm just saying like what's prohibiting you from spending that uninterrupted quiet time with God.
Yeah.
Like that's in your control.
Yeah, there's a lot of perspectives in this episode, which I'm grateful for, because I could hear like where Ebony was coming from, and I could hear where Ashton was coming from. Yeah, because you are not obligated like, oh, you have to spend like an hour reading your Bible, praying. Like that's not obligated. Like everybody's relationship with God is not gonna look the same, but like I think what Ebony was saying, which I have not really like thought of much, is just that like we put limits on like what is too much. Like we think that like, oh my gosh, 5 hours of praying like is too much. Maybe it's not too much for somebody, you know?
Yeah.
Or like or I don't know, like waking up at like 5 a.m. to spend time with God. Like to some of us that's too much. It's not too much. It is whatever, like, and that's why we need to be led by the Holy Spirit. It is whatever like you are led to do. That is not
Exactly.
that is not too much for one. What is too much for one person is not going to be too much for another person. You know, it's just what you are led to do. So like with what Ashton was saying, like throughout the day, like if you don't have like an hour of time, like throughout the day, like you can just, you know, break it down,
Yeah.
because that's what you're led to do. But there's some people that are not led to do that, but they say like, this is enough for me. You have to let God tell you like what to do, and not you put the rules down yourself. Like, I'm gonna do it this way because this is comfortable for me. You have to, because what God's gonna do for you that you're not gonna do for yourself is He's gonna cause you to be stretched. He's gonna stretch you. He's gonna, so that you can grow. So if it's like you're saying that, oh, this is comfortable for me to like just talk to God like in little increments throughout the day, and He didn't tell you to do that. He told you good and well to wake up at 5 a.m. and like get into His presence, and you're doing the whole like 10 minutes throughout the day, then you're being disobedient. You don't want to be stretched. So that's where those two like perspectives kind of meet in the middle. Like, be led by God, and don't put limitations on his call, basically.
Yeah.
Don't put any limitations on His call, but also be led by Him.
And
You may not be called to get up at 5 a.m, but you also may be called to get up at 5 a.m. Don't completely X out getting up at 5 a.m. is what I'm saying.
Because it's uncomfortable.
Because it's uncomfortable.
The reason why I was saying along the lines of throughout your day, like consider God, have Him on your heart, like expressing the fear of the Lord, is because there are a lot of us in this life that they don't consider God at all. A lot of people, like, we can't speak for everybody. A lot of people don't consider God at all. Like, they don't talk to God, they don't pray, like anything. But it's not that they are bad people. It's just that it's never ever on their mind to even take the time out to pray, thank God, talk to God, ask Him. That's why I was saying, like, you can't really speak towards that about everybody, because everybody isn't on that. So if they start off in one way, and that same thinking of people telling them that you ain't doing enough, it's why a lot of people don't do anything at all, because they say like,
Yeah.
whatever I do is not enough, so why even try?
Yeah.
A lot of us have that same
Yeah.
type of perspective with other things, like,
That's a
oh,
good
I'm
point.
not doing enough, and you think I'm not doing enough, so why even try? Why even bother? That's
Yeah,
why I
'cause
said
I'll
like,
never be enough.
you like, people are different. Like nothing is too little or too good above them. Like, we're not better than them.
Right.
They're not better than us. Nobody is better than anybody. And so like, everybody is different. They're gonna have different experiences with God. Everybody is gonna, I guess, meet God a different way. They're gonna
Right.
be introduced to God a different way. So if someone's doing nothing, like completely, like God is nowhere mentioned by them ever throughout the day, and they start off with those increments, maybe one day it's gonna lead up to them designating an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of their day, and maybe 5 or 6 hours a week, throughout their week. Like, it adds up, and everybody starts different
I
and,
don't
and,
want y'all
and
to
meets a
think I
different
was
way.
saying that in a very judgy way.
I mean,
No,
you said you
I
disagree.
understood where you were
said
going.
you
No,
disagree,
because-
and then later
because-
on you said it's like it's no different. Like, you said something when Ashley said it, but when I was saying it, you said you disagree, and that's why
No,
people
because
feel that way.
we're-
Because
I think you were
No.
talking. I think it was an apples and oranges type
Because
of thing.
what you
like
were
you guys
saying
weren't negating.
didn't really.
what I was saying wasn't negating anything you said. It was a different perspective.
I know. Okay, well, it didn't sound like that at first when you said
To
it.
you.
Because to me, it sounded like you were saying like
it wasn't
those
highlighting you.
increments are like enough. Like, you didn't mention like how important like the quiet quality
It's
time
important.
was.
It's important to mention God,
And
like
all
on
of it is-
in its entirety.
What I'm trying to say is I wasn't judging or telling people if you don't spend an hour with God, then, and it's not even about the time. If you don't have any time at all in your day to spend quiet time with God, then there needs to be a shift in how you prioritize your day. Because what I'm trying to say is, whether you even when you just started, as a believer, there's an expectation. God is gonna be expecting of a certain. I understand you can start at, if 10 minutes is all you could do, do that. But you cannot be a Christian for 10 years and still only spending that 10 minutes.
Because you're stagnant at that point.
Like, your relationship
to
with
keep
God
growing.
has to evolve.
Yeah, it
because
does.
there is not a
Without a
certain
doubt,
amount
like,
of
it has
God
to.
that you could know. You don't go from 1 to 100%.
Yeah.
God is infinite. Like, you can never know enough of him. What I'm saying is that we get complacent in the place that we are in with God and in our lives in general, that we never seek out more of him. We get to a place where I read a chapter a day, I pray every morning and every
And
night.
that's enough.
I go to church on Sundays. I think I'm good. I'm
I
a
think
pretty
I'm good.
stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, God, there's a deeper expectation, and that's why reading the word and spending that time with God is so important. And that's why I brought up that even Jesus did it, because we're not exempt from that quiet, uninterrupted time in God's presence, because Jesus had to do the same thing. So I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. Like, everybody starts from somewhere. I never started reading my Bible, reading it the way I do now. I started with Bible verses, maybe here, there. I started Genesis or however, just trying to find my footing until I found a way of studying the Bible that worked for me in my relationship with God, where I feel like I could consume it a lot better. I'm just saying, like, yeah, God is supposed to be in every single moment of your life, in your day or whatever, because God is with you always. Like, he said that in his word. It's just that there's a expectation that's put on us. Like, you can't be on milk forever. Like,
Right.
at some point you have to consume meat. So like, I was just saying, like, there's an expectation of growth. Like, you can't stay
Right.
at that situation, because at the end of the day, God is and should be the most important thing, but we just don't treat him as such, because we get comfortable and we get caught up in between in the world and not of the world, and trying to be in it and not of it, and balancing the two and finding a good place. Because some people can't wake up and decide to spend quiet time with God.
Right.
People have kids, they got to wake up and the first thing they have to do is get their
Right.
kids dressed for school. So maybe your time with God isn't as soon as you wake up. Maybe it's midday. Maybe it's right before you go to bed. because that's when all your kids are asleep, and that's the only time you could get the time
quiet
alone
time.
with God. It's just making sure that it's a priority, because we don't feed our spirits well enough, and then we say, I'm giving the best that I can, not realizing that there are areas in our life that we give more than we give God.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that need to be like just looked at when having like this conversation too. So like Ebony was saying, like the circumstance, if you're a parent and you have your kids, like you're going to be limited in a certain way that somebody else is not limited. So there's that. And there's also like the things that you've dealt with, like even like the past trauma that you've had, right? Or just being accountable with yourself. And what I mean by that is, like, you could be someone that has seen in the past, like, I have been an underachiever. Like, you acknowledge that. So maybe your conversations with God are going to be like, maybe your conversations with God are going to be like, help me to do more, because I know I have a tendency to fall back into this way of underachieving. Whereas, and then you could also be someone that's like very hard on themselves too, that their help me to be more is very toxic. But you still, they still want to be more as well, but maybe you'd approach them in a different way, you know? Like this, it's this conversation, there's a different, what I'm noticing just from hearing us all speak and the different perspectives, like there's a different way to bring this to each person that you meet, because we're coming from like different like backgrounds and stories. Like if I were to bring this to someone that is like literally hard on themselves and on the verge of a mental breakdown, I can't start off the conversation with like, you need to do more. I have to like, for example, I guess myself, I'm always hard on myself. So if someone were to bring this to me as, you need to do more, like at first, like I would probably explode, like right there. Because I need to know first that I am enough, and that whatever I do, like I am enough for God. I'm not enough like in the sense of like what I do. And because I'm not enough, that's why I need God. But somebody needs to tell me that because of Jesus, like I am worthy and I am enough, but I will never be enough to carry things out, if that makes sense. Like to do work, like the work of our hands, the purpose that we have here on this earth, like I will never be enough without him.
Yeah, like without him, yeah.
Without him.
Like his grace being sufficient and his strength being made perfect, like in our weakness. Like God thrives in the areas of our weakness. So you just acknowledge that, hey, like I'm a weak person, and that's not a bad thing, because that's where God can strengthen me most. Yeah, literally, because with people that have, say, the perfectionist mindset, that I have to, everything that I do has to have this perfect outcome. That's not healthy. Yeah, Ebony, me too, girl.
I was gonna say that. I think that leads to easily being overwhelmed.
Yes.
And that is all around more destructive, than constructive.
Right.
And so personally, like, you guys already know how I operate. I think, this basis of belief is why I always think better is better than nothing. So even if there is no best, as long as you're doing better, you're doing okay.
I feel like what Ashleigh was talking about, like how some people are like too hard, and then if things don't go specifically their way, like
the whole
that's it. Like I feel like that's why a lot of people like tend to commit suicide or because, like, I know this may be taking a turn, but I mean, like, they felt like nothing else would have went their way, and they chose death over life. I feel like that's how a lot of people are led to that.
That's hopelessness.
Yeah,
like you feel
because
like nothing's
they feel
ever
like
gonna change.
Nothing else is gonna go their way, and there's no more. There's no more. Like, not even God. And it's sad, but I mean, like, once God isn't in that presence, like, all we have is darkness.
Right, literally.
Yeah, and that's why community is so important too, and just knowing how to take care of different situations, because we all get to that point where we feel like nothing we do is enough. Nothing we've tried to do is enough, and I feel like sometimes God will even allow things to fall apart so you can just let go of them,
literally,
and allow him to like take control of everything. Because for instance, when it comes to like provision, you have people that will like work themselves into the ground, tired, beaten down,
that's
because
not healthy.
they don't feel like God is capable of providing for them.
Yeah, that's not
And you
healthy.
have times where God would have to allow them to lose. Not saying God caused it, he allowed it. The same thing with Job. He allowed Job to lose everything, right? That way we could understand like what truly is important. Look at Solomon. Solomon had everything and wrote a whole book about how nothing matters except for God. So it's just like,
that speaks volumes.
it's just like understanding that we were made in his image. We were made in his image, and we are essentially enough, and he loved us enough to send his one and only son to die for us. Like, God literally thought that we were to die for. Literally. So much so that he sent his only son. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm all over the place at this point. But yeah.
It's like after, so it's like after you see that I'm enough in Christ, I'm enough, then we're not saying to like fall back on that. Because people usually, some people are susceptible, thank you, to fall back on that. That's not what's being said here. What's being said here is that the reason for those that are the perfectionists out there, or those that like want to take control of everything and have the outcome like perfect, the reason why like there's this breakdown is because we're trying to do everything ourselves. We're basically saying we don't need Christ.
Yeah, you're trying to hold
but from the
up.
jump, why we accepted him is because that's us saying, I am not enough.
I can't do this
I
without
can't
you.
do this without you. I am only going to be enough if I have you through this.
I'm only enough when you step in.
Yeah. So with everything after you make that step, you have to welcome him in, or else you will fall back into this, oh, I have to, like, it's on me. You're setting yourself up for failure, because in the jump, from the start, it was this thing of God, like, I need you to step in. I'm not enough. And I think it's like back and forth. It's going to continue being back and forth between the it's on me to I need Christ to be enough, until it's truly acknowledged, until you truly believe like I need him. I'm going to keep having like the downfalls. I'm going to keep falling short. I'm going to keep seeing this repeat over and over again if I don't let Christ in.
Yeah. It's a partnership. I heard Tim Ross say that, like, a relationship with God is like a partnership, like, not necessarily, he was saying, stop saying, like, let God use you. Because when you think of the term being used by somebody, it doesn't have a positive connotation, because we hate being used by people.
That's so true.
Like, so, like, not looking at it as being used, but more so being in partnership with God, where you guys are connected, and in a way where the work that he needs done through you is being done because you're continuously connected to him, and
that's what you want to do,
making sure you're still right, like, on assignment. And I just keep hearing these song lyrics in my head based on your point, Ashleigh, was after you've done all you can, you just stand. Or like the song we was listening to prior, as soon as I stopped worrying how the story ends, when I let go and I let God have his way. I struggle with trying to be in control of everything. I want to be in control of everything. I want to know everything. I want to
Same.
be the person that does everything. And then I get burnt out and I'm like, I cannot do this by myself. But I have a very, like, I kid y'all not, I have a very hard time not being in control. Like, even when it comes to the podcast, when it comes to editing, the reason why I'm so burnt out is because I have a hard time letting anybody else do it. Because I'm like, nobody could do it the way I do it. So I'll just do it. Like last week, I was struggling to get a video uploaded. Because instead of letting Trey rewatch the video, I was like, no, don't worry about it. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. I'll do it. And I do that to everybody. Don't worry about it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Until like I'm overstimulated and tired because I keep trying to, it's me. Like even Lex asked me for help to learn how to use the social media. And I honestly don't want to teach him because I feel like he's not going to do it right. Instead of having faith, I'm teaching him the way that it should be done and praying that he does it wholeheartedly. I'm just like, I refuse because you're not going to. Even when it comes to cooking certain dishes in this house, I don't like when I wouldn't want Ashton to cook them because I feel like he ain't gonna cook it the way I like it or the way I want it. So I just rather do it myself. And that's what makes you tired.
Yeah, and that lack of peace.
That is how you get tired.
Yep.
Because you're not asking for help. And you're not allowing your community to step in and help you. So at that
wondering
point,
why you're burnt out and crying and just
at that point,
all type of emotions.
You
like
look like a
flowing
person.
all over the place.
That's why when Trey sat down, I was like, "Hey, bud, next week's video's not edited. Would you mind just?" And I know Trey just be waiting for me to ask, but I just don't be asking.
And the funny thing is, before she even finished the sentence, I said yes.
Listen, I have a control problem and it gets exhausting. Same thing with Buzz in the movie. Buzz was like, I have to save everyone. I have to do this. He had a whole team of people trying to help him. And it was just like, you can't do this by yourself. Like, you literally trying to save the universe by yourself. Friend, we are literally here trying to help you. And you just, it's the same thing I try to do all the time. I just try to do everything myself. And I feel like God allows me to get tired and burnt out and like kind of allows everything to fall apart in a way where it's just like, you have a community that you're not using because you're just trying to do. Even when Ashleigh was like, do you need help? I had to ponder on it. Ashleigh was like, what can I do anything? I want to learn. And I was like, in my head, I was like, Ebony, all she asking you to do is help set up equipment, bro. It's
just let it go.
It's
yeah. And what's crazy is in the movie with the reference with Buzz.
Spoiler alert again.
It was only like that because he wanted to feel like he mattered. And sometimes that is true with a lot of us, and even with how Eb was referencing, wow, she drank all my water.
It was good too.
Yeah. Even what Eb was referencing to, like sometimes she does these things because she wants to feel like she matters. Because sometimes, in a sense, she feels like she doesn't matter to anybody in anyone's life except her own. Damn. And I feel like in that point, it's a sense of, not a sense, but like a lack of God being in the equation. Because if God's in the equation, you will know that you matter to him. So you matter in general, in life itself. And yeah, that's
just all over the place trying to, because that's why Buzz was doing everything he was doing. Because he ended up meeting, spoiler alert, he ended up meeting himself. So I don't know if you've ever seen Toy Story, but Zurg, his enemy, is actually him 100 years older. So he met him, and he was an evil villain because he wanted to go back in time and undo the mistakes so bad because he wanted to matter, not realizing that he would have mattered anyway. So I think what Ash said, I never really looked at it like that. Like I just be trying to matter, and I just like the perfectionist in me. I wouldn't even call myself a perfectionist, but I just want things done a certain way so bad that I would rather do them than let anybody else do them and be mad at the way anybody else do it. Because, but I have a hard time accepting help, and that's that. That's that I can do it. Don't worry about it. I got it. That's that like independent, like hyper independence. I think that's what they call it. That's
and I really, because I really identify with that. I really,
that's a struggle. Like Ashleigh was just telling me the other day, he was like, you think you're soft and like you think you like allow me to be there for you, but you're actually very hard. Like he was like, you always like, I literally had to put this in my notes and put it on my screen on my phone to remind me to soften myself and smile more, because I'm literally so hard with him. He be trying to help me and stuff, and I just be like, I got it, I could do it, I could do it, I got it, I could do it. That's why earlier when my brain was foggy, I just had to stand in front of him and let him hug me and be like, relax, we can have this figured out. I don't think I've ever done that until today. Like really gone to you to like calm down. I look like, I'm trying to find an example. I just look like someone in the airport carrying a lot of luggage. And I'm walking by all the guys with the trolleys who want to help me. Or I went past to check, like I just trying to get to my gate with it. And there are tons of people who have stopped and asked me if I need help. No, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. And if I ever tell you, don't worry about it, I could do it, I'm upset.
Like, why are you asking me for help? I mean, why are you asking to help?
Yeah,
me?
that's so
like,
so
why
crazy.
do you think I need help?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
crazy how backwards
it's
that
a
is.
hyper independence, and I feel like it comes from like trauma.
And
And like
that's what I was thinking.
Watching what my mom has gone through with like significant others and kind of depending on them for provision and it just not working out the way that she wanted to, and kind of feeling like helpless because she couldn't do it herself. So yeah, it kind of gets hard to depend on others for help when
It's
you want it, when you're so particular. If y'all know, I'm very particular about like everything. So if it's not done the way I want it done, now I'm just like, see, this is just why I do everything
This is
myself.
why I do everything myself.
Because y'all don't ever, and it should not. I have people willing to help me with stuff. I just be like, don't worry about it. I'll just
that's why I think, like, personally, like trying to be like very in control of everything that's around you, it's not always the best way to operate.
It's tiring
because you're in a river, and instead of flowing with the river, you're trying to swim upstream.
Yeah,
you're working against
the
yourself.
gift is showing, Trey.
working against the current.
Working against yourself and all the opportunities that you're gonna get at the end, bro. You're working against it. Nothing that is supposed to happen naturally, you're not letting it flow naturally into your life, because every single thing that happens, you want your hand on it.
Yo, that was a
Hold
word.
on, that's a word.
That's a
Everything
word.
that's just supposed to you want your hand on it, and that's why I had a trouble or have trouble trusting God, because I want my hand in everything He's trying to do. God, I want you to do this, and I need all the details. I need your business plan. I need to see it. And God's just like, this girl ain't gonna never let me do nothing, because you're always in the way. It's the same thing with a savior complex. You always trying to save everybody, and you getting in the way of God stepping in, trying to save them. It's me. I have the savior complex.
Yeah.
I'm always, as soon as people tell me their problem, I'm trying to figure out, can I help them financially? Can I go drive the car and help them? Like, what can I do? And it's just like, if you don't allow some people to fall and stop picking them up, God is the savior, not you.
Exactly, bro. There's a lesson to be learned. Let people learn the lesson. So
if
that
you
they
keep
can
trying
go
to save them, God is not going to get a chance to save them if you keep doing it.
Yeah, you are not God. Yeah,
you're not God. It's
God.
like, if you have a family member that, I heard this, I feel like I said this on a podcast before, I don't remember, but I'm gonna say it again. I think Tim or somebody was talking about it, and they were like, I have this friend that, the scenario was, you have a cousin that's like, oh, yo, I a little short on rent this month, can you like let me borrow a little $300? Excuse me. So you lend them the $300. Couple months go by. I know we don't really talk like that, but I down bad right now. I need like $200. All right, cool. You give it to them. Couple months later, same thing. How we doing? I know I miss your birthday and all, but yeah, I need a little $300. that's you keep saving them.
Mm-hmm.
Empowering them would have been the first time, here's the $300 and here's a budget. Let me help you with your finances so you could figure it out and you don't have to be here again.
Right.
But the continuous giving money and giving money and giving money and giving money, they're not learning anything.
Right.
If you keep showing up for them like that.
Right.
Because we're supposed to be generous givers, but at the same time you need to give with discretion. If you
Yes.
see somebody keep
Yes.
coming to you every month around the same time for money and they have a job, what are they doing with the money that they're making?
Right.
So at that point, if you realize they keep coming up short on rent, don't keep saving them. Help them figure out what they could do to minimize their spending to be able to afford these things that they keep asking you for money for.
Mm-hmm.
Help the horse find water.
You can't you have to help people be self-sufficient in a way, but
Self-sufficient.
it's like always constantly trying to save people. That takes a lot of energy out of you, especially if you're saving anybody and then when you look and you need saving, then seeing people can't save you or you don't have anyone in your life period to save you. Because sometimes you can't look for something from people if they need it from you. If they need you to help them get out of the water from drowning, obviously if you drown and they can't help you because they can't swim.
Mm-hmm.
But then you so busy trying to save them that you ain't even make no other friends that know how to swim. So now you drowning and the person you just saved can't help you.
Wow.
Can't help you.
Wow.
And nor
So
do
you
you
both
have
drowning
anybody.
together.
Just
Not exactly.
You both drowning together. Yeah. You have to be wise.
Mm-hmm. That's when
Use
you have
wisdom.
Yeah, that's when you have to realize that, hey, like, we are people. We can't replace God. So you have to let God
Simple.
Let
be
God
God.
work.
Yeah, let go and let God. Like
When
it may seem like a regular cliche or like a regular phrase that people say, but I mean, like, you actually have to do it like at some point in your life, because like when you try to do too much, that's you literally trying to be God. So
Yes.
a little short recap, like, make time, try your best to make time for God. Consider him in just about all that you do. Do not try to replace him.
Ooh, yes.
And do not try to be him.
And
Yes.
you can't control everything.
Can't control it.
Get
Everything.
rest.
And you are enough.
Get
Right.
rest. You are enough.
You are enough.
If you need to understand why you need rest, read Genesis.
Yeah.
The first 2 or 3 chapters will tell you everything you need to know about rest. Because God even rested. He didn't have to, but he did anyway. Rest is essential. Recharging is essential.
Just like the people at my work say, if you don't give yourself a rest, your body gonna make you take a rest. And you know
Yeah.
That's so true.
And you're not
It's
gonna like
it's
that.
okay to
not
have
gonna
a
be fun.
day. It's okay to have a day off.
Yeah.
It's okay to call out of work one day if you've been working. I just called out of work yesterday. Ain't no shame in my game. Ashton said I could, so I did. And that's on. My husband is the best husband in the world. But do we have any last... This was a great episode.
It was a great episode.
It was much needed.
Yeah. Like,
There's a lot of transparency. I told on myself. Even though I show at this point, Trey could tell when I just don't want him to do nothing. Because he's asked
we push
multiple
on.
times, like, you sure? And I'd be like, no, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it.
And with Trey.
And then he can give up.
Right.
He asks that. We might get 2 asks. After that, if you say, no, I got it. Trey, be like, I bet. I'll see y'all later.
Yep.
Then I over here up late trying to upload the video and get everything together. And I just be sitting here like, well, he asked if you needed help. And you said no. So he went home. Because one thing Trey not going to do is push.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't.
no. That's not what you said. That's what I say at that point.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No.
Yeah,
That's
Ashton
that's
came
what I
into
say.
the...
Oh.
No,
into the
I'm trying to
scene.
say that's what I say during the time of your breakdown.
Oh,
Not
Oh,
you.
not
yeah.
not to push.
Yeah. No.
I mean, you are
She says
one.
she says she remembers that. Oh,
In
he already
holy
asked. I
match.
said no.
Then you say
That's the voice that you hear. It's not you. It's me.
I mean, you
Ashton
are,
is
Yeah.
like
you are
Trey
husband
asked.
and
Yeah.
wife.
You could have told Trey he could do it.
No, he's be like, why you ain't just ask Trey to do it? And I'd be like, Yeah.
Yeah, bro. And that's one thing too, bro. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Like they always say, the worst somebody could say is no.
Yeah.
I wish you'd tell me no.
I would.
Yeah, because there's this jacket Trey have that he wore one day that I've been asking him to give me. I ain't get the jacket yet. So, with that being said, this has been a wonderful conversation. I love you guys so much.
I appreciate it.
Ashleigh's my favorite. Ashleigh, thanks for talking about this, girl. I needed this because now I gotta spend time in my prayer time asking God what's wrong with me. Why I always trying to
because like last thing that I wanted to say was just like this episode like spoke to me so much because like this is a topic I've been going around the same mountain about, and like I'm seeing now that like at the core of like why you're so tired all the time, like why you're unmotivated, like why do you feel like you don't have any help, like you're not letting people help you, and most importantly you're not letting God help you. Like that in a nutshell is what I got from it. Like, so if I ever complain again, I'ma just come back to it. Like that's it it right there. So
so on that note, guys, this has been More Than Conversation, where we do life together and talk about it. If you're watching us on YouTube, you guys can check the link in the description if you prefer to listen instead of watch. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You could also check out our socials. Hit us up if you have any questions, if you have any video suggestions, anything that's on y'all hearts that y'all want us to talk about on here. Feel free to DM us, email us, however, reach out to us any way, shape, or form, and we'll be happy to discuss it on our podcast. So yeah, that's it. Until next time, hands in everybody. MTC on 3. 1, 2, 3. MTC. Bye, guys.